Something strange in the neighborhood? Check. Something weird and it don't look good? Check. Now, who to call? When a film was popular, it often has a animated adaptation, let's say a TV series based upon the characters. Sometimes they have to tweak things a bit to incorporate it. For example, the 1990s Godzilla series actually had to produce a second monster since the first one ended up rather dead at the end of the movie. But for the most part, they usually tend to be relatively faithful. That's what I'm going to talk about today. The real Ghostbusters. Now, the real in the title is not, as many people, including myself, thought at the time, a way to separate themselves from the film, but the result of a long legal battle with Filmation involving the rights to do an animated series, a pre-existing series of their own, and a man in a gorilla suit. Trust me, it's a long story. This is not going to be a these are the best episodes in our argument, period kind of list. Just my 10 personal favorites of the series. The Ghostbusters are invited to Hollywood to act as technical advisors for a film made about their adventures. And of course have to tackle a ghost running rampant through the studio at the same time. I like this episode because it clearly shows there's a difference between the animated adventures, supposedly the real characters as they go about their adventures, and the film that was made, incorporating the elements of their first official case. Who as a child hasn't been afraid of a monster in the closet, or under the bed, or lurking behind that half-open door? Well, guess what? He's real. The boogieman is attacking people, and especially children, and the Ghostbusters are called in by a couple of these children to fight him, uncovering a secret to Egon's past, and a very personal reason for taking this guy down. Some men just want to watch the world burn. There are many reasons for wanting to end the world. It could be personal glory, it could be insanity, or it can be a broken heart. When a man gets hold of a magical flute which will play the tune to end the world itself, the Ghostbusters themselves are helpless against such an immense force, and only true human friendship may actually bring this world back from the very edge of darkness. There can be no doubt that a city can be alive. The people within it, the buildings, the whole massive life and emotion can actually make a city a living thing. In ancient Babylon, they understood this. Samhain is actually a god of the city. And when he shows up in New York and begins helping people, things seem to be perfectly good. We've got this guy with immense power, and he's helping people out of pure altruism. Unfortunately, as is often the case with mythical beings, there's a counterpart, and his rival Tiamat, the goddess of destruction, shows up as well, placing New York City and the Ghostbusters in between a literal war of gods. In his house at Relay, dread Cthulhu lies dreaming. Well, not anymore. Cultists have used the Necronomicon to raise him from his watery depths, and it's up to the Ghostbusters to stop his squiddly doom. The Eiffel Tower is one of the most iconic landmarks in Paris, and is much more than it seems. Sure, it was used as the opening to a famous exposition, but in this case it was actually intended, of all things, as a ghost trap. And when some workmen accidentally interfered with it and damaged the equipment which is keeping the ghosts inside of it, the Ghostbusters are called in. Because not only would this release a lot of trouble, but given Paris's rather violent history, not to mention the rest of France, we're talking several million very angry spirits. What is the real source of Halloween? Is it to commemorate the moment when the walls between light and darkness are thinned? Or is there more to it? When a pathetic busybody, one of the kind of people who talks about how fun is useless and should be outlawed, actually finds a way to remove Halloween, he figures he's won. Only to realize that the ritual Halloween itself is part of a much larger, more powerful, and ancient bargain between humans and demons. And with the bargain broken, this Halloween and the world may soon end. The Ghostbusters may deal with forces that go bump in the night, but that's more than just ghosts. So they're called to a mysterious isolated town called Lupusville to fight vampires. The mystery deepens, however, when it turns out there's more than one group of vampires involved in this, and the town itself has a rather interesting secret. Why do people fall asleep at night? Well, according to this, it's because of a race of spiritual beings known as sandman, who go to places and blow magical sands into their eyes to make sure you get a good, healthy night's sleep. That does not take into account, however, when one of them goes rogue, deciding that the best way to end war is to put all of humanity to sleep. This is bad enough, but there's a couple of other small provisos. This sand is so powerful that it actually causes people's dreams to come to physical life, causing its own share of havoc. And the spell will last for 500 years. As one by one the Ghostbusters fall, it's up to Winston and Janine to save the world from a possibly eternal sleep. Being a good guy can be relative, and what may be positive for one thing may be regarded as something negative for someone else. A mysterious storm in Central Park, which is pulling in people and things, catapults Ray, Egon, and Peter into a parallel universe, one where ghosts are the norm, and their counterparts are chasing them down because they're the people busters. So there you have it. My top 10 personal favorite episodes of the animated Real Ghostbusters show. If you like this list, let me know. If you disagree with my choices or have choices of your own, by all means, let me know in the comments. I'm some Canadian guy, and that's my $2.